Just checking to make sure we're good and we're on and it looks okay. And I know, I'm just refreshing on here.
I'm glad I'm refreshed too.
We're all refreshing in this room,
So
except the dog. Well, he is kind of refreshing, but... All right. There we go. I think let's see. Okay, we have some people here and everything. There, that's much better. Oh, Michelle's here. And Valerie. Hello, Valerie. It's very nice to see people. So, I was thinking how nice from Olympia. One of the things that's so nice about doing this is it forces us, it forces me and then in turn all of you, to just think about something you may not have thought about today. I think Torah is the same way. For me, the Torah, because we have to study the Torah portion every week, ideas come up, ways to live, ways to be, personal relationships, things about humanity come up, and I never would have thought about those things had I not. And I like to think that the things that we think about or talk to ourselves about, those things stay with us. When we do at the end, when we say, may I feel this and may I feel that, that idea that, I kind of think of it from the negative side. The person that's told they're worthless every day of their life begins to believe they're worthless. A person that's told they are everything, right? Or they're smart, they're beautiful, they're talented, they're this. Every single day they're told those things, they're going to believe those things too. And it doesn't matter if you're saying it to yourself or someone else is saying it to you. If you hear that in your mind over and over, right? May I feel safe, may I feel safe. It does end up taking over. I think that's part of Nachman and Reb Nachman of Bratslaw's idea about finding joy when there's sorrow, is that you just kind of pretend that you're joyful, and then, sooner or later, it will follow. I don't know where. I was talking to someone the other day, and this idea came up. They had no idea who Reb Nachman of Bratslav was, but it was talking about that idea of kind of faking it till you make it. Oh, I know what it was. There was a guy who talks about gratitude, and he decided he would visit, I think I mentioned this, he would visit everybody that goes into making his coffee. So he literally, from the barista to the guy in South America that picked the coffee beans, to the woman who created the design. I mean, he literally called every single person up. And he was talking about gratitude, and they asked him, what if you don't feel like going? What if you don't feel like doing it one day? And then he gave this idea. He says, sometimes I don't feel it, but I fake it. Like I am into it, and all of a sudden I follow and I do get into it. And that's that idea of gratitude, is just begin to have the gratitude. Talk to yourself in ways of gratitude, and it does make your body and your mind kind of go in that direction. So with that in mind, let's take a look at Tiferet of Netzach. Beauty or balance, and enduring, victory, success, ambition. How do those things work together? I think there's two ways. I always like to have maybe 2 or 3 ways to think about it, but I have 2 I think that are pretty good ones. So you have this idea of beauty within endurance, and endurance is like that thing that you continue to do in your life. Like you're compelled to do it, you must do it, and you go and do it, and it lasts a long time, right? It's not something that you have a burst of energy and you get it out of your system. Netzach is something that's lasting and deep within you, kind of like a passion that's inside of you that will never end. So on one side, you have this idea of beauty. And so perhaps it is look at the beauty of your endurance, or look at the beauty of that thing that you're doing. Find it beautiful. which perhaps can keep your motivation for that netzach, for the endurance of it, right? So if we put that kind of the beautiful feeling into it, then that can carry the endurance because it makes us feel better about what we're doing. So that's one. I thought that was something that would be helpful. Actually, I've thought of a third one, so I'm going to do the one that I'd really like us to kind of sink our teeth into last. So that first one is, another way to put it is noticing the beauty of life as you're continuing to push forward in whatever that thing is that you need to accomplish. You need to be victorious. You need to succeed. That ambition, that pushing that you're bringing of yourself for that thing that's enduring, right? Your need to notice that there is beauty around you. So that's kind of like a stop and smell the roses. Sometimes our ambition, our netzach, is so powerful that we're like this, and we are myopic, and we've got blinders on, and we're not looking around. I don't see my handsome dog on the floor to my right because I have these blinders on, and I'm so concentrated on what I'm doing. I think that's what happens to a lot of people, and they don't pay attention to their families, right? Or they don't pay attention to their husband or their wife. And it leads to issues because they're so concentrated on what they're doing. I mean, this happens in all the movies, right? Just think of any movie and the person's so obsessed with it that they lose the person that they love. So that's one. Second one, this was the one I read it through Chabad, is that they translate Tiferet as compassion. And so what they say is that one must bring compassion into that which is enduring. And that our compassion must also be enduring. And it's the idea of, if our compassion is inside that desire to succeed and desire to have victory, then that desire, that netzach, is used towards goodness and towards helping others. So if your compassion is placed inside of that netzach, inside of your desire to do and succeed and be victorious, then what you're going to do with that netzach is going to be towards others, because your compassion is inside that netzach. I thought that was a wonderful way to think about it, especially if there are some people whose lives are really about compassion. The way to fit that in there is that thing that drives you needs to be filled with compassion as well. So if that's something that you need for today, then that's a wonderful thing to think about as well. The last one is balance in netzach. And for me, it's really important, because I'm one of those kinds of people that when I get on a project, or I get in something that I want to be done well, or I'm working in a certain direction, I can be a little bit, don't even talk to me, because I probably don't hear what you're saying anyway. It's kind of like any man who's watching some sports on TV and you try to talk to them. But that was silly. But this idea that in order for something to endure, it can't be the only thing that's happening. There must be a balance between that desire to succeed and fulfill the id inside of you that needs to do this thing, and all these other parts of your life that contain beauty, that contain compassion. So that's why balance for me kind of takes those other two as part of it, in that we can't just move along that netzach. We can't just think about how to succeed and how to win and how to, keep our desires going. And that also kind of tilts the way we think about netzach, and that netzach isn't necessarily it's not really necessarily a project, but it's that underpinning of the need to move forward and to do. It's like the ultimate of I've got to do, when Tiferet is the ultimate of you must find balance in everything in order to do. So it's at the same time maybe finding balance in the netzach itself, in the thing you need to do, but I read it as you've got this over here. I really should be using my left hand because the Netzach is kind of your left hip. You've got this, what you need to do over here, and you have the rest of your life over here. How do you balance from here to here? How do you include other aspects of your life to inform you that could actually help you in this desirous place that you want to go? I got very excited about that. I really think that it's a wonderful to Tiferet Sheben Netzach. So with all of that in our minds, let's not think about anything now. But truly, I do think that this meditation that we're going to take for the next 20 minutes is part of that balance, right? Like to be doing. We might have things we want to do right at this moment. We may have things that we thought we should have been doing already, but it didn't have the endurance. This meditation is for us to pause and to be able to get to it. If it's something we're obsessed with and we're moving forward and we're just all the time doing that, we can't say anything around, take 20 minutes to meditate. Clear your body, right? See if you can find stillness instead of your muscles always coming together. Not in a sleeping way, but in a conscious way to control kind of what's happening inside of us. One might say in certain ways that what we are doing is taking our Netzach and we're directing it towards this stillness, as opposed to directing it towards all the actions that we bring it to in our regular lives. So let's get to a place where we're comfortable yet strong. We're just breathing regular. We're not trying to force any breath, not trying to take deep breaths. We're not trying to find out how we're breathing. Well, we'll notice how we're breathing, but we don't need to force it. Just find yourself in a neutral place. And we're just noticing how our body reacts to our breath. If you find a particular tension in your body, you could use your breath to relax that a little bit as well. So we're just allowing everything to be as it is for now. Just being. We're not doing anything. As your thoughts begin to come into your head, with chesed, with loving kindness, just bring yourself back to your breath. You know, there's no such thing as, I stink at this, because your mind is going to take you away. It's the act of bringing it back that's important, in a non-judgmental. Don't hit yourself, don't curse at yourself. It's just what it is. Allow it to be. Perhaps you're actually thinking about the difference of balance inside of your Netzach, and that's not such a negative thing to be thinking about. But then you bring yourself back and allow yourself to clear a little bit, and maybe another thought will come into your head that's important. Although we are just concentrating on our breath, it's really the whole action of breath and non-thought and thought and coming back to the breath and staying there and being taken away and then brought back. It's all a part of the practice. And sometimes I'll be holding my shoulders tense and I don't even realize it until I just start to notice what's happening in my body with my breath. Or my jaw will be tight. So as you're breathing, just notice your body. It's all tied together. as we have our last several minutes together. It's a wonderful Wednesday, and we ask for two feelings. May I feel loved. May I feel luminous. Luminosity, luminescence. I think those are two different things. Luminescence is what we're after. Light, a lightness, a shining, a glow. May I feel luminous. May I feel loved. That somebody loves me and that I have love for someone else. May I feel loved. May I feel luminous. May I feel loved. May I feel luminous and loved. Just continue to say that in each breath. You can say it out loud. You can whisper it. You can say it in your mind. May I feel luminous. May I feel loved. I'd like to invite someone to come stand with you, open your mind's eye, and we could offer them, may you feel luminous, may you feel loved, may you feel luminous and loved. And then just bring it back to yourself. May I feel luminous. May I feel loved. May I feel luminous. May I feel loved. Just a couple more breaths. And we've come full circle and we just concentrate just how our breath goes into our body and goes out, just for a couple. Stay on that breath. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you were able to find stillness and peace. May you feel luminous. May you feel loved. And may your tiferet be in your netzach. Have a